As a result of Mongolian invasion and devastating expeditions of Tamerlane, flat-led Alania ceased to exist. Surviving groups of Alans, disorganized and disoriented, had to hide in the mountainous gorges in both sides of the Caucasus Ridge. Despite all the natural hardships of life in the mountains and constant threat of new invasions, Alan's Ossetians managed to preserve their independence, native language, faith and traditional culture. Unique architectural monuments of medieval stonecrafters, protective walls, towers, sanctuaries and burials are still preserved in the mountains of Ossetia, Alania. Mountainous settlements have been built in the course of centuries. Villages in Ossetian language are called "ko". When picking a place for a new village, settlers had to assess a number of critical safety factors, such as danger of avalanches and landslides, possibility of effective defense, proximity to good water sources, and also access to farming and grazing lands and forests. Villages were divided in neighborhoods called shukh. Normally, village consisted of upper and lower neighborhoods called wallakshukh and dallakshukh. A few neighboring villages made up a civil local community. Entering in alliances, local communities created bigger gauge-scale communities. High mountain ridges served as natural borderlines between such communities. On the northern slope of Caucasus were formed Tagaur, Kurtat, Alagir and Digor communities. In the most elevated central Ossetia existed Trshigom, Twal, Urs, Twal and Kud communities. On the southern slope Ksan, Zal and Kudar. All the villages belonging to same community collectively owned grazing lands, forests, meadows, and also had common sanctuaries. The unity of community members was displayed not only in the moments of hostile attacks, but also during funerals or weddings, when people helped each other irrespective of their blood relations. The obligatory elements in every village were its social center, where the adult males gathered called Nahash, a sanctuary called Kuvandon, and cemetery called Valmarta. The civil communities created own complexes of sanctuaries. As a rule, there were 7 of them. In many mountain villages, those sanctuaries or sacred places are still preserved and are taken care of the present-day inhabitants or those city dwellers who trace their origin to this village. In Hilak Gorge, in Anditakal village, a local sanctuary known as Zharinnakh was restored in 2019. Iron cross was installed on the roof comb and traditional fireplace stain was hanged inside. The approximate period of the original construction is the 12th century AD. Another Mighdou natural sanctuary in Uzdon Gorge is considered sacred by a lot more Ossetians than just Uzdon Gorge descendants. Many historically local sanctuaries has grown in their status and became all Ossetian sacred places. Mother Myram, Mother Mary Sanctuary in Kurtat Gorge attracts people wishing to pray here from many parts of Russia. The centers of social and political life of every village were usually built in the central parts of the villages and were called Nahash. In Lot's village in Kurtat Gorge, one can see a preserved Nahash with stone-carved chairs, mostly likely created in Alanian period. Traditional Ossetian architecture can be described as practical and well integrated in the surrounding mountainous landscape. Every mountainous village is a complex of typical architectural forms: mashuk, tower; ganah, estate; galwan, castle; hazar, house; zapaj, burial vault. Hazar is a usual one or two-story house. Most buildings in any Ossetian village belong to this type. Every village had a fighting or watching tower, mashuk. Towers were as a rule owned by representatives of more powerful clans, Tăhcân Măcag. As Costa Hitagurov wrote, stronger clans used to own a 5 to 7-story towers, where in case of emergency, the whole population of the village could be housed with their necessary utensils and provision. In bigger villages such as Dargovs, Dalakau, Lisri, Samati, and others, there were from 8 to 12 towers. The researchers have located more than 300 towers in different degree of preservation in the mountains of North Ossetia. The period of most active construction of towers is 16th, 17th, and part of the 18th centuries, and it was caused by the necessity of a village of communal properties and territories. Ganah estate is a living 3-story tower. It always had a flat, compacted dirt roof. Ganah could also be used for defensive purposes. Galwan, castle, is a fortified stronghold combining both fighting tower and 2-story stone house. The first story was used for mostly service purposes, while the second was the living quarters. Powerful fortifications can be found in all gorges of Ossetia and Alania. One of the best known is located in Hanaz village in the Gorgoj. It is called Galwan of the Tsalati, or frigate tower, due to its unusual shape and powerful build. Another interesting kind of historic architectural monuments is Fidar, towers on barely accessible rocks in the most important strategic locations, granting its owner's ability to dominate and control the surroundings. Rock castles were normally built in the central part of steep or even vertical mountain wall, where the caves and some additional space were carved out in the rock. They had several fighting towers and living space, protected by stone walls on the outer side. The Vgish fortress in Kurtat Gorge is the biggest complex in mountainside complex in the North Caucasus. It consists of 6 caves of different size, connected to each other by a system of pathways and hanging stairs. Impregnable fortress with quite a heroic history is preserved near Nuzal village, right in the site of the mountain over present-day highway Transcam. Local legends tell us that a legendary Os Bagatar, founder of all major clans of large Alagir Gorge, used to live here for some time. Uzdon fortress, overhanging Uzdon River at the height of 150 meters and combining 5 tower complexes, also amazes by the talent of its creators. Separately standing rock fortifications played important role in the defensive system of the communities living in those gorges. Those are protective walls with loopholes, windows and entry gaps which were covering the entrances to the caves. The probable dates of construction of these mountainside fortifications are 12th and 13th centuries. They became main major bastions of defense for the Alans in the epoch of Mongolian conquering. Next to the villages of the Ossetians, there are always burial grounds with multiple vaults constructed in different periods of time and subdivided in three major types: underground, partly underground, and above ground. The most famous is a large Dargov's necropolis consisting of 99 vaults. The biggest in Western Ossetia is Lisgor necropolis, which has 64 different type vaults, many stela-shaped gravestones and other types of burials. An unusual burial ground is in Gil village, where among crosses and gravestones there is the only vaulted burial in the whole Mamison Gorge. The main strengths of traditional Ossetian mountainous architecture are maximum economy of space, laconism, and full harmony with surrounding nature. Monuments of stonecraft are an invaluable national wealth, example of selfless toil, fortitude, and will to survive of the Alans Ossetians.